Power is not just about strength or control. Real power is something deeper, something that tests your character, your patience, and your faith. It's not given to those who demand it, but to those who earn it quietly, day by day. Today, I want to talk about what it really means to have extreme power, the kind that lasts and changes lives, not just momentary fame or flashy victories. Think about the strongest person you know. Are they the loudest, the most aggressive? Or are they the ones who show up when no one is watching, who keep fighting after every fall, who stay humble even in victory? Extreme power isn't about proving yourself to the world. It's about mastering yourself when the world tries to break you. Extreme power is earned, not inherited. This truth is uncomfortable for many because it demands accountability. It strips away excuses. It means no matter who your father is, what your background is, or how naturally gifted you are, real strength comes from what you do, not what you were given. A man may be born into wealth, fame, or even physical advantage, but that doesn't make him powerful. It just means he was given a head start. What he does with it, that's where power begins. You can't buy power with money. You can't fake it with words. Power, the kind that makes people respect you in silence, comes from your decisions, your actions, and your self-control. It comes from how you carry yourself when no one is watching. When everyone sleeps and you train, when you fall and stand back up with discipline, when you bleed but continue, that's where power is earned. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's earned deep within, far from the cameras. Many people want to skip the process. They want the belt without the rounds. They want the spotlight without the shadow. But real power doesn't work like that. It comes from doing the hard things consistently, even when no one gives you credit. The ones who inherit opportunity often fail because they never learned how to suffer. Suffering teaches you patience, and patience builds strength. You earn power through sacrifice. When you give up comfort, laziness, and distraction, you gain something stronger than muscle. You gain focus. Focus is rare. Most people are controlled by emotion, pulled by desires, and chasing noise. But the one who sacrifices comfort to build discipline earns a power no one can steal. Power that doesn't fade when money runs out or when the crowd stops cheering. To earn real power, you must go through fire. And you must go through it alone. No one can give you grit. No one can give you mental toughness. These things are forged in private battles, the ones no one sees. When you're tired, when you're doubted, when your body says no but your soul says continue, that's when you earn your strength. That's when your roots grow deep. Inheritance can open the door, but it can't keep you inside. If you rely on what you were given, you'll fall the moment you're tested. In the cage of life, no one cares who your father is. No one cares about your followers or your possessions. All that matters is, are you ready? Did you prepare? Did you earn your spot? The truth is, power that's inherited without effort creates weakness. It breeds entitlement, and entitlement is a poison. It tells you that you deserve things you haven't worked for. It makes you soft, and in this world, if you're soft, you break. So if you want extreme power, stop looking at what others gave you. Look at what you've built with your own hands, your own sweat, your own patience. This kind of power is slow to build. It doesn't come overnight, but once it's built, it's unshakable. Because it's rooted in effort, in truth, in time. When you earn something, you respect it more, you protect it, you grow it, and you don't fear losing it because you know how to get it back. You earned it once, you can earn it again. Don't envy people who look powerful. Ask yourself, did they pay the price? Because if they didn't, they won't keep it. You want power, go earn it. every day, in your actions, your mindset, your habits. And remember, real strength has nothing to prove, it just is. Extreme power is not about being born a lion. It's about becoming one. Every scratch, every loss, every lonely night, all of it is part of the process. And when you've earned your power through pain, through silence, and through discipline, no one can take it from you. Because it lives inside you, discipline is more powerful than strength. Strength can lift weight, break bones, win battles. But without discipline, strength is wild, unpredictable, and often wasted. Discipline controls strength. It guides it like a sharp blade in the hands of someone calm. That's dangerous. But in the hands of someone reckless, it's useless or even self-destructive. Many people chase physical power. They train their bodies, build muscles, learn to fight. That's good. But physical power without mental discipline is like a car with no brakes. You might be fast, but you'll crash. Real power is not about how hard you hit, but how calm you stay when things get hard. That calmness that comes from discipline. Discipline is waking up when you're tired, training when you're sore, controlling your words when you're angry, and showing respect even when you've been disrespected. These are not signs of weakness, these are signs of extreme strength. Anyone can react, few can remain focused. The one who stays composed in chaos always wins in the end. Strength fades with time, the body grows old. Injuries come, but discipline never fades. Discipline becomes your habit, your second nature. It grows stronger with every sacrifice you make, with every temptation you resist. Strength can be taken, discipline cannot. That's why it's more powerful. Some of the strongest people in history were not the biggest, not the fastest. But they were disciplined, they had control over their mind, their actions, their emotions. That's why they could lead, endure, and dominate. People followed them not because of fear, but because of respect. Respect follows discipline, always. When two strong people meet, it's not the one who yells the loudest or swings the hardest who wins. It's the one who waits, who watches, who thinks, and then acts at the perfect time. Timing is discipline. Patience is discipline. Knowing when to strike and when to hold back, that's real power. Discipline is not easy. It's boring, it's repetitive. It demands you to do the right thing over and over, even when no one notices. That's why most people fail. They want excitement. They want fast results. But power built on discipline doesn't crumble. Because it wasn't built on hype, it was built on truth. Without discipline, strength becomes pride, and pride always falls. A strong man without discipline becomes a danger to himself and others, but a disciplined man with strength becomes a protector, a leader, someone others can trust. That's the difference between fear and respect. You can't teach discipline in one day. You must live it. You must train your mind like you train your body. You must say no when it's hard, not when it's easy. You must focus when your heart wants to quit. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you grow stronger in a way no gym can give you. So don't chase strength without discipline. Don't be the loudest in the room. Be the calmest. Be the one who moves with purpose, speaks with meaning, and lives with structure. Because at the end of the day, true power is not what you can do once. It's what you can do every single day without being told, without being seen. That is discipline, and that is power. Real power is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't shout. It doesn't show off. It simply exists. When someone truly has power, you can feel it in their presence, in their silence, in the way they walk, breathe, and carry themselves. They don't need to convince anyone because they know exactly who they are. Weak people talk too much. They try to look strong because deep down they know they are not. They post everything, brag about everything, and try to be louder than others. But volume doesn't equal value. The loudest in the room is often the weakest. The strongest man is the one who can stay silent and let his actions speak for him. When you have nothing to prove, it means you have already proved it to yourself. And that's where confidence comes from, not from applause or attention, but from daily work, sacrifice, and self-control. Power that's loud is usually temporary, but the kind of power that grows in silence lasts forever. Think about the mountain. It doesn't move, it doesn't speak, but it's powerful. It stands through storms, heat, and time. That's how a man should be. Strong, still, unshaken, not emotional, not reactive, just focused. That kind of quiet strength is rare, and people feel it when it enters the room. When you are truly powerful, you don't chase attention, it comes to you. You don't need to tell people you are strong. They see it in how you live, how you train, how you speak with purpose and not noise. The world respects consistency, not volume. Your discipline, not your words. People who are always trying to prove themselves to others are insecure. They don't trust their own power, so they need others to believe it for them. But real warriors don't care what the crowd thinks. They care about staying true to their path, even if no one claps. They don't need the spotlight. They are the fire, and fire doesn't ask permission to burn. Quiet power also shows in how you handle disrespect. Weak men scream, threaten, react. Strong men stay calm. They know who they are. They know they can respond, but they choose not to unless it's necessary. That level of control is real power, doing only what needs to be done, nothing more, nothing less. In a world full of noise, silence is strength. People panic when it's quiet because they fear being alone with their thoughts. But a powerful man welcomes silence. He trains in it. He grows in it. He uses it to sharpen his mind and strengthen his spirit. He doesn't hide behind noise. He embraces stillness. You must train yourself to be calm, to not overreact, to not show every emotion. That's not weakness, that's control. When people can't read you, they respect you more. When you speak less, your words mean more. When you move with purpose, not with ego, people feel your presence without you needing to announce it. So remember, real power doesn't perform, it doesn't entertain, it just is. When you build yourself in silence, stay focused and let your results speak, people will know. You won't have to say a word, because in the end, true strength is felt, not heard. Responsibility defines true power, not domination. Many people confuse being feared with being powerful. They think if others obey them, if they can control a room or give orders, that makes them strong. But real power is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself and carrying the weight of what comes with your strength. Power without responsibility is dangerous. It destroys more than it protects. History is full of men who gained power but lacked the maturity to handle it. They used their strength to dominate, to harm, to feed their ego, and in the end, they lost everything. Why? Because power without responsibility is like fire with no boundaries. It burns everything, even the one holding it. A truly powerful person understands that the more strength you have, the more careful you must be. If your words carry weight, you must speak with wisdom. If your actions influence others, you must walk with discipline. Power is not a game, it's a trust. And when people trust you with strength, you must never use it to hurt them. A responsible man knows when to lead and when to listen. He doesn't use his position to silence others. He doesn't dominate to feel superior. He uses his power to guide, to protect, to bring order where there is chaos. That is the kind of power people respect. not the kind that breaks others down, but the kind that lifts them up. Responsibility means accepting the consequences of your actions. If you make a mistake, you own it. If you make a promise, you keep it. Weak people blame others. Strong people take responsibility. And when you take responsibility, you earn trust. And trust is more powerful than fear. You cannot call yourself powerful if your actions only benefit you. Real power thinks of the bigger picture. It takes care of those who cannot protect themselves. It makes decisions not just for gain, but for what is right. This is the type of strength that lasts, the kind built on values, not ego. When a man uses power to dominate, he becomes a tyrant. But when he uses power to serve and protect, he becomes a leader. One creates fear, the other creates loyalty. Fear fades when power fades, but loyalty stays even when you're gone. That's how you know who truly carried power and who just wore it like a mask. Every time you are given power in your family, your team, your business, you are given a test. Will you use it to build others or to build your pride? Will you lead with respect or rule with fear? These choices define what kind of man you are. Not how much power you have, but how you use it. The more responsibility you take, the stronger you become. Not because life becomes easier, but because you grow under the weight. That's what makes you different. Others run from pressure, you carry it. Others avoid accountability. You stand in it. That is power, not the ability to dominate, but the strength to carry what others cannot. So never chase power to be above others. Chase it so you can serve with more strength. Chase it so you can protect more, give more, and lead with more wisdom. Because in the end, domination fades. But responsibility builds legacy. And legacy is the highest form of power. Struggle and sacrifice are the foundation of greatness. You don't become powerful by taking the easy path. Nothing valuable comes without pain. Every champion, every leader, every strong man you see, he has a story behind his strength. A story filled with losses, long nights, doubts, and silence. Without struggle, power has no meaning. Without sacrifice, success has no soul. People want results, but they don't want to suffer. They want the reward without paying the price. But real life doesn't work that way. You must bleed for what you believe in. You must let go of comfort. You must choose the hard road again and again, even when no one is watching, even when no one claps. That's where real strength is built. Struggle humbles you. It breaks the ego. When you lose, when you fall, when you're forced to start over, that's when you find out who you really are. It's not your wins that build you. It's the times you had nothing and you still showed up. That kind of pain builds a mindset that can't be broken. That's where extreme power comes from. Sacrifice is the test of how bad you want it. You say you want to be great, but are you willing to give up sleep? Give up comfort? Give up time with friends? Are you willing to suffer now so you can live with pride later? If the answer is no, then power is not for you. Because power is earned through discipline, not desire. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. You must earn every inch. And the more you want, the more you must give. You can't have greatness and live like everyone else. You must live different, think different, train different. That means pain. That means saying no to things that feel good so you can say yes to things that make you better. People respect sacrifice. They can feel it. When you walk into a room, they know if you've paid the price or not. You don't need to tell your story. Your presence says everything. Because sacrifice gives you depth. It gives you a fire in your eyes that can't be faked, and no man can borrow that from someone else. When you go through struggle, you build empathy. You understand pain. You understand loss. That makes you stronger, but also wiser. You don't just gain muscle, you gain perspective. you become the kind of man who not only stands tall, but lifts others. That's real power, not just to survive the storm, but to help others through it. If you try to avoid pain your whole life, you'll also avoid growth. You'll stay average, soft, weak, because comfort is the enemy of greatness. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start dying inside. But the man who keeps walking through the fire, even when it hurts, becomes something more. He becomes unbreakable. Struggle gives your journey meaning. It makes your success real. When you finally reach the top, and you remember the pain it took to get there, the early mornings, the injuries, the sacrifices, that's when you feel true pride. Not pride in ego, but pride in your process. You didn't cheat. You didn't cut corners. You earned it. So embrace the struggle. Don't run from it. Let it shape you. Let it sharpen you. Every tear, every loss, every lonely day, it's making you stronger than you know. Because in the end, power built on comfort will crumble, but power built on sacrifice will last forever. Mental control is stronger than physical force. Anyone can swing their fists. Anyone can shout or react in anger. But very few can stay calm when they are disrespected. Very few can think clearly when emotions are high. That's why mental control is rare, and rare things are powerful. The strongest men are not those who strike first, but those who stay disciplined when tested. Your body can be trained. You can build muscles, learn techniques, increase your speed. But without control over your mind, none of it matters. A man with no control is a danger to himself. He may win today, but he will lose tomorrow, because eventually his emotions will betray him. He'll make a mistake. He'll react too fast. He'll fall not because of weakness in his body, but weakness in his discipline. The fight is always in the mind first. Before you step into the cage, before you speak in a meeting, before you respond to someone, the real battle has already started in your head. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, your ego, these are your first opponents. If you can't control them, you are already losing. Mental control is being able to stay focused under pressure. It means you don't fold when things go wrong. You stay calm, you adjust, you keep going, you don't blame others, you don't panic. This is what separates champions from ordinary men. Not just how they perform when everything is good, but how they handle it when everything falls apart. Powerful men are not controlled by their feelings. They feel pain, yes. They feel anger, yes. But they do not let those emotions make their decisions. They use logic, patience, and timing. They observe, they wait. They don't waste energy on useless battles. They know when to act and when to be still. That is strength most people never reach. Mental control also means knowing yourself. Your weaknesses, your triggers, your habits. It means being honest with yourself when no one is looking. You cannot master the world if you cannot master your own thoughts. And if your emotions are louder than your discipline, your strength is only temporary. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Just silence, just stillness, just watching while others lose control. While they panic, you plan. While they shout, you breathe. And when the time comes, you strike with clarity, not emotion. That's power, that's control. That's what makes people respect you without a word. Many people train their body every day, but they never train their mind. They never practice patience. They never learn to stay calm in chaos. And so when pressure comes, they break. But you must be different. You must train your mind like a weapon. Sharpen it daily. Discipline it. Because it's the mind that commands the body, not the other way around. Mental control also keeps your ego in check. You may win a fight, gain respect, earn money, but if your mind is weak, you will destroy yourself with pride. You will talk too much, act without thinking, and forget your purpose. Mental control keeps you grounded. It reminds you who you are and why you started. So remember this: muscles can fade, speed can slow down, but a disciplined mind only gets stronger with time. And in the end, the man who can control himself will always have more power than the man who can only control others. Because real power is not in what you can take, but in what you can hold back. If you have no faith, your power is empty. You can train every day, master every skill, become feared and respected, but without a deeper belief guiding you, it means nothing. You will feel lost. You will always be chasing something more, never satisfied, never at peace. Faith gives power its meaning. It gives you a reason to endure, a reason to rise every time you fall. Faith is not weakness, it's not blind hope. It's knowing there's something greater than you, that your strength, your success, your breath, it all has a purpose. Without faith, power becomes dangerous. It becomes about ego, about proving people wrong, about destroying rather than building. But when power is rooted in faith, it becomes focused, disciplined, and righteous. A man with faith trains different. He doesn't train just to win. He trains because it's his duty. He doesn't fight for fame. He fights with honor. Faith keeps his ego small and his vision clear. It reminds him that everything he has can be taken in one moment. So he stays humble, he stays grateful. That humility makes his power even stronger. There are many men with power but no faith, and they are often the first to fall. When pressure comes, they panic. When they lose, they break, because their power was built only on themselves, and man alone is weak. But the one who believes, who trusts in something higher, who submits to that greater force, he becomes unshakable. You can't break a man whose strength doesn't come from this world. Faith teaches patience, and patience is power. When things don't go your way, faith tells you to keep going. When doors close, faith tells you the path is not finished. This mindset to remain steady during chaos, it gives you a deep strength no training can give. You don't just survive the storm, you grow inside it. That's what faith does. Faith also keeps your heart clean. In a world full of corruption, jealousy, pride, and temptation, it's easy to lose your way. But faith gives you a compass. It reminds you who you are and who you serve. It tells you to lead with honesty, to speak with truth, to act with mercy. And when you do this, people trust you. That trust becomes your real power. A man with faith doesn't fear loss. He understands that everything is temporary: winds, belts, money, even life itself. This understanding gives him peace. While others are desperate to hold on to what they have, he lets go of fear. He knows what's written for him will come, and what's not meant for him will pass. That level of surrender is strength most people will never know. When you have faith, you don't fight alone. You carry something inside you that gives you confidence, that silences doubt. You pray before you act. You think before you demand. You trust before you complain. That mindset is rare, and rare is powerful. Faith also teaches respect for yourself, for others, for your journey. It tells you not to look down on people, no matter how strong you become. It tells you to stay disciplined, not because people are watching, but because the one who gave you this strength is always watching. That's a different level of accountability. That's where real power lies, in obedience, not arrogance. So, never separate your power from your faith, because without faith, your power has no direction, no control, and no peace. You may conquer the world, but lose yourself in the process. But if your strength comes from faith, then even in loss, you are not defeated. Even in silence, you are not alone. That kind of power never fades. Ego is the enemy of extreme power. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're better than others, that you've already done enough. that you don't need to listen, learn, or stay humble. It's dangerous because it grows quietly. One victory, one compliment, one moment of recognition, and ego starts to take root. Before you know it, you stop improving, you stop respecting, you stop seeing the truth. A man ruled by ego believes he has already arrived. He stops grinding, he stops listening to his coaches, he starts talking more than he works. That's the beginning of his fall. The greatest downfalls are not caused by weakness, they're caused by pride. Ego blinds you, it makes you careless. And in this game, carelessness is fatal. True power requires clarity, and ego clouds your vision. It makes you think every loss is someone else's fault. It makes you justify every mistake. Instead of fixing what's broken, ego hides it. You can't grow like that. You can't evolve if you think you're already perfect. A powerful man is always learning, always adjusting. Ego makes that impossible. Ego also isolates you. When you believe you're above others, you push away the very people who helped you rise. Your team, your mentors, your family, they become tools instead of brothers. You stop trusting anyone's advice. You think you know everything, and then one day when things fall apart, you realize you're standing alone. That's what ego does. It builds walls instead of bridges. The stronger your ego, the weaker your discipline. Because ego hates correction. It hates structure. It wants to do what feels good, not what is right. It wants to be praised, not challenged, but discipline demands you to face your flaws, to keep your head down, to stay consistent even when nobody sees. Ego can't survive in that kind of environment, and that's why it must be crushed. Power that is built with ego is temporary. It rises fast and falls hard. Because ego doesn't build for the future, it lives for the moment. It wants fame now, attention now, respect now, even if it hasn't been earned. But real power takes time. It's patient, it's humble, it's focused. It doesn't need the spotlight because it knows its worth in silence. A man without ego can take criticism and grow from it. He can lose and still learn. He doesn't need to prove anything because his actions speak louder than his pride. That kind of man is rare, and that kind of man is dangerous in the best way because he doesn't need to show off. He just wins, quietly and consistently. Ego also makes you emotional. When your identity is tied to pride, every insult feels personal. Every challenge feels like a threat. You start reacting instead of responding. But when you kill your ego, you gain control. You move with purpose, not emotion. You think long term. You don't get pulled into drama. You stay locked in. To be great, you must choose humility over ego every single day. You must remind yourself that you are not better, only more disciplined. That you are not above anyone, only further along in the journey. That everything you've earned can be taken away, and the only thing that protects it is your humility, not your pride. So remember, ego is a liar. It tells you you're invincible. It tells you you've done enough. But real power is silent, humble, and always working. Kill your ego before it kills your potential. Because in the fight for greatness, your biggest opponent is not the man in front of you. It's the pride inside you. Power is nothing without purpose. Many chase strength, influence, or control just for the sake of having it. But power without a clear purpose is like a ship without a compass. It drifts aimlessly and eventually sinks. When you have purpose, your power becomes focused, driven, and unstoppable. It's the fuel that keeps you moving forward, even when the road is hard and the world is against you. Purpose gives meaning to every sacrifice you make. It turns pain into progress and struggle into growth. Without purpose, all the training, discipline, and effort feel empty. You wake up exhausted, questioning why you do what you do. But with purpose, every early morning, every hardship, and every defeat becomes part of a greater plan. That plan is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. When you have purpose, you don't get distracted by temporary pleasures or setbacks. The world will try to pull you into gossip, drama, and meaningless fights. But purpose helps you stay on your path. It's like a light in the darkness guiding you. You learn to say no to things that don't serve your goal and yes to things that build you up, even when they're hard. A man without purpose is a man lost. He uses his power to prove himself, to chase validation, or to feed his ego. But those things are fragile. They change with every opinion, every failure, every moment. Purpose is different. It's constant. It's something you carry inside, something bigger than yourself. And when your power serves that purpose, it grows beyond what you imagine. Purpose also brings responsibility. When you know why you're here, you realize your power is not just for you, it's for others too. Purpose turns power into service. It makes you protect your family, support your community, and inspire those who look up to you. That's when power becomes a blessing, not a burden. Without purpose, power can easily corrupt. It becomes selfish and reckless. But with purpose, it becomes a tool for good. It helps you make decisions that benefit not only yourself, but everyone around you. Purpose gives you a moral compass that keeps your power on the right path. When purpose is clear, failure doesn't stop you, it teaches you. Setbacks become lessons, not reasons to quit. Because your power is tied to something bigger than temporary results. You see every obstacle as a step forward, every challenge as a test of your commitment. Power with purpose demands sacrifice, but it never feels wasted. You understand that every struggle, every lonely moment, and every loss is part of building something meaningful. That understanding gives you peace, even in the hardest times. Purpose keeps your ego in check. When your power serves a cause greater than yourself, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your strength speaks for itself. You don't seek praise, only progress. And that humility makes your power even stronger. So always ask yourself, what is your purpose? What do you want your power to build? Because without purpose, power is empty. But with purpose, power becomes legacy. It becomes a force that changes not just your life, but the world around you. Power without discipline is like a river without banks. It's wild, uncontrolled, and destructive. Discipline shapes power into something useful and lasting. Without discipline, strength becomes chaos. A man without discipline may have talent or strength, but he will never reach his full potential. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. Discipline means showing up when you don't feel like it. It means sticking to your plan even when the world pulls you away. Many people start strong, but few finish. Discipline is what separates the starters from the finishers. It's not about motivation, which comes and goes. Discipline is habit. It's consistency in action, no matter how hard it gets. Without discipline, power is wasted. You might train hard one day and skip the next. You might focus intensely one week and lose track the next. This inconsistency destroys progress. But with discipline, every small action adds up. It builds momentum. It creates strength that compounds over time. Discipline also controls your mind and emotions. It keeps you from reacting to every insult, every failure, every distraction. It teaches patience and focus. A disciplined man can resist temptation and delay gratification. He understands that short, Short-term discomfort leads to long-term success. When discipline is strong, your power grows silently. You don't need to boast or prove yourself. You keep working, improving, and pushing boundaries. Discipline builds inner strength, a force that doesn't rely on external validation or circumstances. This strength is unshakable. Discipline also brings respect. People notice a man who is reliable, who follows through on his promises, who controls his habits and decisions. That reliability creates trust and influence. Without discipline, power becomes unpredictable and unstable. With discipline, it becomes dependable and commanding. Discipline is tested every day, in training, in diet, in rest, in speech, in attitude. It's not a one-time thing, but a lifelong commitment. The man who masters discipline masters himself. And self-mastery is the foundation of extreme power. Sometimes discipline feels like a prison. It limits your choices, restricts your desires, forces you to say no. But it's in those limits that freedom grows. True freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's having control over yourself. Discipline gives you that control. When you're disciplined, you build momentum that carries you through hard times. When motivation fades, discipline pushes you forward. When obstacles arise, discipline helps you adapt and overcome. Without discipline, power collapses under pressure, so never underestimate discipline. It's the quiet force behind every champion, every leader, every strong man. It's what turns potential into reality. Without it, power is nothing but a fleeting shadow. With it, power becomes unstoppable. True leadership is the heart of extreme power. It's not about being the loudest or the strongest in the room. Leadership means responsibility, sacrifice, and the ability to guide others through both calm and storm. A man who seeks power without leadership is like a sword without a hand, dangerous but useless. Leadership gives purpose and direction to power. A true leader leads by example. He doesn't just give orders from a throne. He stands beside his people, shares their burdens, and earns their trust. When the pressure rises, a leader does not run away or hide. He faces the challenge head on and inspires others to do the same. That courage is contagious, and it turns followers into warriors. Leadership is also about humility. A strong leader understands that power is a gift, not a right. He listens more than he speaks. He learns from his team, accepts criticism, and admits mistakes. This humility doesn't make him weak. It makes him respected and strong. People follow those who are real, not perfect. A leader takes responsibility even when things go wrong. He doesn't blame others or make excuses. He owns every failure and uses it as fuel to improve. That accountability builds loyalty. People trust a leader who stands firm in failure and leads with integrity. Great leaders don't seek control for their own benefit. They serve their team, their family, and their community. They understand that their power exists to protect and uplift others. This service turns power into something greater, a force for good. That kind of leadership lasts beyond any single victory. Leadership requires vision. A leader sees beyond the present moment. He understands where he wants to go and how to get there. He sets clear goals, communicates them, and motivates others to follow. Without vision, power is directionless and wasted. Leaders also have patience. They know change takes time and success is a long road. They don't give up after setbacks or distractions. Instead, they keep pushing, inspiring others to stay committed. That patience turns obstacles into stepping stones. True leadership means making tough decisions, often sacrificing your own comfort for the greater good. A leader faces loneliness and criticism, but stays true to his path. He knows that leadership is not about popularity, but about doing what's right, even when it's hard. Power without leadership is dangerous. It can become selfish, reckless, and destructive. But power with leadership becomes a force that shapes lives, builds legacies, and changes the world. That is the power worth striving for. So, embrace leadership with humility, courage, and vision. Lead by example, serve with your heart, and take responsibility every day. Because extreme power is not just about strength. It's about the ability to inspire and guide others towards something greater than yourself. That is true power, remember this. True power is not measured by how many you conquer, but by how much you control yourself and how many you lift up along the way. The greatest strength comes not from pride, but from humility, not from ego, but from discipline. When you build your power on these foundations, nothing and no one can break you. That is extreme power.